Our next guest is Cindy Windsor, author of the heartwarming children's book, Chica, Chica, Señorita. Inspired by a real-life moment in Cuba, Cindy discovered a tiny puppy who would eventually make an incredible journey across the sea to her new home in Prince Edward County. Through this touching story, Cindy hopes to inspire families and young readers to consider the power of animal rescue and adoption. Please welcome Cindy Windsor to Quinte Vibes Live. Welcome.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my pleasure. So here is Chica.
Traveling Chica.
Traveling Chica. I love it. So she's going to have a seat there and
Perfect.
Keep everything on guard for us.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to become an author.
So a little bit about me. I am a native Belleville person, born and raised. Like most, went away for a bit and came back. I am the mom of 2 grown daughters. I have 4 stepchildren, 6 grandchildren. I am currently employed with Habitat for Humanity here in Belleville. I'm their general manager of retail operations. So I've not ever been inspired, I don't think. There was never a time in my life where I thought, okay, I'm going to write a book. Mm-hmm. What happened just kind of happened.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And this is the book.
It is.
Chica, Chica, Señorita. I love it. It sounds like a song.
Yeah, it's fun to say.
It is fun to say. So this is inspired by a real life experience.
Yes. Yep.
So can you tell us about the time you connected with Chica?
Yeah,
for the very first time.
My husband and I travel yearly to lovely Caribbean islands, and April 2023, we ended up in Veradero, Cuba, at a lovely resort there. And yeah, that's where we first met. We were waiting, we had changed rooms, so we were waiting outside of our new building for our bags to be delivered, and across the walkway in the grass were 3 little puppies. So that's where it started.
So what was going through your mind when you saw Chica for the first time on the
Well, she was
ground?
so darn cute, and she was the white one, so she stood out more. There was 2 little brown ones, 2 siblings, but I, wondering where's her mommy? She wasn't noticeably around at that moment, but throughout the rest of the duration of the trip, she was not too far away from them at any given time. So
excellent. So bringing Chica to Canada must have been quite an adventure. So what were some of the challenges you faced?
So it was an adventure, and there were challenges, and the book itself is a condensed story of what really happened, a little bit of a backstory. So we were on vacation for a week, Sunday to Sunday. Sunday evening, we saw Chica for the first time, but at check-in that day, we had met a lovely woman from Cape Breton Island, Susan, and so we had chatted with her. The next morning, we saw Susan again, and we were asking her, hey, have you seen the puppies that are here? There's 3 puppies, we saw them last night, and she hadn't seen them, but she went on to offer this incredible information to us. So she knew a woman who was an RCMP officer out of Nova Scotia, who also was a fitness instructor, who traveled the Caribbean working as a fitness instructor with their entertainment teams, who also, her main job was working with local shelters and rehoming dogs back to Canada. So that kind of sat with us. So that was probably Monday. We saw the puppies again that evening. They would come out at nighttime around 6 o'clock when it was probably cooler, and they would play in the grass alongside the fence. And so I think the second time we saw them, I was like, oh, yeah, she's so cute. She's so cute. I want to take her home. And with that information, the journey started. So the text started with the Cheryl and Susan. First thing we had to do was get Chica. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, for a few days, we didn't see her. So we were worried that something had happened to them. We had also heard rumors that they had been taken by animal control people. So already our hopes were kind of diminished right there, thinking that she was gone. So on the Thursday, after a lovely day at the beach, I sent my husband back to the room. I said, I'll meet you there. I'm going to go do another walk along the fence and see if I see her. So lo and behold, they were on the other side of the fence, still making their way over. So I, went over, I called them and lifted up the fence, and I grabbed her in my arms, and I was like, okay, I've got her. Mm-hmm. So I ran back to the room. I've got this puppy in my arms, showed my husband. He's like, okay, we're going to do this. And then turns out the Friday, with lots of texts again with these wonderful people, that she had to have a vet check. That was the first thing that had to happen. And we were leaving on Sunday, and the vet wasn't open until Monday. Okay. So again, it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to happen. So in conversation with Susan, either that Friday night or the Saturday morning, they had offered to foster Chica with them for 3 nights, because they were flying back to a connecting flight in Toronto on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So it was actually strangers that we met that brought her to Toronto. They got her through customs and then texted us, we're through, and I called my husband and said, okay, let's go, we're going to the airport.
So going to the airport
to pick up our baby.
Pick up your baby.
Which she is, yeah.
And how old was she?
The vet determined that she was probably around 8 weeks. So, and she fit like right in the crook of my neck. She was so tiny, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So this is your first book, your debut book.
It is.
What was the writing process like for you?
So the writing process was easy, because it just literally came to me sitting on the couch one night. I had bought a journal at the dollar store to write all of her firsts in, her first this or first that, like any new parent. Right. And the nickname Chica, Señorita had been thrown out since we'd had her. So this was probably around mid-June, and I was curled up on the couch writing in my journal. Chica, Señorita, the little white puppy with the big heart and angel wings, just came out, and then next thing I had a first paragraph, I had another paragraph, and probably within an hour I had the basis of the book. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And how many pages, the book?
Altogether it's 28, so I think there's like 12 illustrations and 12 pages of words.
Who did the illustrations?
The illustrations are by a man named David Anderson. He's part of the Friesen Press publishing group, so he was one of the portfolios that I had to view to make a decision on who was going to do those. So. Fantastic. He did a great job. I get a lot of compliments on his work. So
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So what do you want young readers and families to take away when they read the book?
I think the biggest thing is that how special pets can be, and to what great lengths sometimes some people go to get one. Mm-hmm. We have had pets before, weren't looking at getting another pet. But they do enrich your lives.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I have a grand puppy, so
there you go. Yeah.
I completely resonate with the story, and he's a rescue dog as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. But I'd like to do a deeper dive into the writing process. I know a lot of people who are authors in the making, and they ask me, how do you get started, Nikki? So what would you say to them?
So, how do you get started? Google is everybody's friend. So
shout out to Google.
Once I had, I guess, what I thought was the basis for the story, and I thought, hey, why can't this be a book? Why can't I write a book? So I did some research, just trying to find different publishing companies, making some phone calls, speaking with some people. And I landed with Friesen Press, who is a Canadian publishing firm out of Western Canada, Vancouver. Had some conversations with them, and then the next thing you know, I'm pressing a button and my money is flying through the air, and I am going to write a book. Yeah. So that happened in July, I guess. I made that decision. And I was keeping it a secret from my husband, so I was doing it kind of on the fly.
And you kept it from him?
Yeah, I kept it because I wanted it to be a surprise.
Does he know now?
Oh, of course he knows now.
Okay.
I wanted it to be a Christmas present.
Okay.
So that was the idea, because the time frame they figured starting in July, they could probably we could get it done for Christmas. So I was like, great. So it is a process. There is the editing aspect of it. So even for a children's book that has a few hundred words, it was a couple of sessions of editing and ensuring the grammar and everything worked right. Being self-published, you have the final say, and there's a phrase that I use in the book all the time. Chica, Señorita, the little white puppy with the big heart and angel wings. And they wanted me to either take it out because it read so literally, or add markings to it, and I didn't want to do that. So I made my decision to leave that in there, and that's one of the common phrases in the book that I think resonates, and I get a lot of questions from the children about that, which I love. It's because she's got a big heart mark on her hip, and she's got 2 long spots that come off her spine that look like big wings. So that's where that came from. And then I sent them pictures, and they would draw the caricatures from the actual photos that I send. So I received the portfolio, and right away, his drawings just resonated with my vision. And so David Anderson came on board as the illustrator, so that he goes from sketches, and then we add the colors in. And yeah, then it's just putting the book together. It's just, they're sending PDFs back and forth, they're making changes. So it gets a little stressful because once you click that, that's the final copy, that's the final copy. That's unless you want to pay extra to have more rounds of certain things done. So from start July, it took until March of the following year to come out. So it was an 8-month process of getting from pressing that button to it being available online and ready for purchase. Yeah.
Amazing. And this seated Chica,
my traveling Chica,
so well behaved.
Yes, unlike the real one.
Tell us about this.
So I don't know, I just came across a woman on Facebook, and she makes these animals from pictures. So I sent her a picture one day, and I got my little Chica companion that I take with me to all my events.
That is neat.
Yeah, she's cute.
I need to get one for my puppy.
I'll hook you up with her. Follow Chica on Instagram at Chica Señorita. I'm going to be in chapters in Kingston on the 29th, doing a signing and selling there as well. So if anybody's in that area, come and see me, and look for some vendor shows. And if anybody has any ideas for me, give me a shout. Yeah.
Fantastic. And repeat again how people can find you.
Find the book.
Find the book, and also to connect with you.
So you can direct message me on Chica's Instagram account. Again, the book is in chapters here in Belleville. It's at consignment at Tinker Decor downtown. It's at the Belleville General Hospital gift shop. So if you've got some little one in the hospital you need a gift to take, you can buy a book there. Online, all venues, Amazon, Chapters, Barnes & Noble, and the Freeze and Press bookstore as well. So it's readily available. And I always have them in my car. So I have a satchel.
That is
I have
really
a traveling saleswoman. Yeah.
That's really smart, because you never know. There's
you don't
always an
know.
opportunity.
There is.
It's such a beautiful book.
Thank
you.
you.
A lovely story. So.
It is. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was an experience. So if I don't do another one, I've done one, and I can at least say that I've written a book.
Yes, and you've touched a lot of families.
I hope so.
Who have adopted dogs, rescue dogs. So it resonates really amazing with them.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.